My sister secretly used my credit card to book her honeymoon, said it's temporary. I found out after they'd already landed. When I confronted her, she said, "Chill, we're still family." So I sent her a bill for the exact total, $4,800. She left me on read. I just reported the booking as unauthorized. The card was flagged mid-trip, the airline froze their return flight. 10 days later, she screamed when my lawyer called her. I didn't realize my sister had stolen from me until she was already on a beach in Hawaii. I got the alert at work, $4,800 charged to Hawaiian Airlines. It didn't even register at first. I thought it had to be fraud. I hadn't booked anything, I wasn't even planning a trip. But when I looked closer, I saw the charge was made at 2:43 a.m. on Sunday. That was the night of her wedding. That's when my stomach dropped. Lily had just gotten married 2 days before, backyard wedding at my parents' house in Arizona, simple, last minute, and full of little cost-cutting tricks that made it obvious they were trying not to spend more than they had. Jordan, her new husband, barely said a word the whole night. I figured he was just overwhelmed. Looking back, he probably just didn't want to talk about what they were planning. I hadn't seen a honeymoon fund, no registry, no plans. They told everyone they were doing something low-key later, which I guess was technically true. I opened Instagram, thinking maybe I was overreacting. That's where I saw it. Her story was still up, a short video of her legs stretched out on a lounge chair, ocean in the background, caption just landed, beach with umbrella emoji, ring, palm tree emoji, palm tree hashtag Maui. I sat there staring at it like I'd been punched, and then everything clicked. My wallet had been in the guest room all weekend. I hadn't even thought about it because we were all staying in the same house. On Saturday night, while the wedding was still going, she'd asked me to grab her charger from that room. I was halfway there when she said, "Never mind, I'll get it myself." That was all she needed. I called her straight to voicemail. I texted, no reply. Hours later, she finally messaged back one line, "We needed a little help. Don't freak out, it's just temporary." Then another, "You make more than us. Chill, we're still family." Still family, like that made it okay. I didn't even respond. I pulled up Venmo and sent her a request for the full amount, $4,800. She saw it and never paid, just left me on read. So I did what she probably didn't think I'd do. I called my credit card company, explained everything, and reported the charge as unauthorized. They flagged the card, opened an investigation, and told me they'd reach out to the airline. What I didn't expect was how fast it would move. 2 days later, the airline froze their return flight. I didn't find out until they came back early, unannounced, and showed up at my parents' house looking sunburned and pissed. Lily stormed past me like I wasn't even there. Jordan didn't say a word again. They barely lasted 5 minutes before she started arguing with Mom in the kitchen. I didn't need to hear the details. I knew exactly why they were back, and I hadn't even started with the real payback yet. Lily didn't apologize. She didn't even acknowledge what she did after they got back early from Hawaii because their return flight got flagged mid-trip. She stayed quiet, no texts, no calls, no "Hey, sorry I committed literal fraud to fund my honeymoon," just silence. I saw her at our parents' place 3 days later. She walked in like she owned the house, like nothing had happened. My mom asked her how the trip went. She said it was fine and blamed the airline for messing something up. Jordan just sat at the kitchen table like a mannequin, barely looking up from his phone. I didn't say anything in front of everyone. I wanted to see how far she'd go with the act. That night, I sent her the full breakdown. I pulled every detail from the airline receipt and put it in a nice little invoice, $4,800.74, itemized, flights, taxes, seat selection, checked baggage, everything. I included screenshots of the charge and even highlighted the time of purchase, 2:43 a.m. Sunday morning, the exact moment she decided I'd be paying for their romantic getaway. I attached the invoice to a Venmo request with one line, "Since we're still family." She opened it within 5 minutes, then closed it. No response. That's when I realized she had zero intention of paying me back. She really thought I was just going to eat it, that I was too soft or too embarrassed to make a scene, that I'd just chalk it up as a sibling mistake and move on. So I called Derek, my lawyer, explained everything. He didn't even hesitate. "We'll file a civil claim, unauthorized use of a financial instrument, credit card fraud. You've got digital proof. We'll send a notice first, but this one's solid." The next day, she got the call from his office. I didn't even hear about her reaction directly, my mom did. Apparently, Lily started screaming the moment she heard the words legal action. She hung up, then started blowing up my phone, 10 missed calls in an hour. I let every one of them go to voicemail. The first message was just a long rant. She kept saying it wasn't a big deal, that I was overreacting, that Jordan was stressed, and that I should have talked to her like a brother, not a stranger. Not once did she say sorry. The second voicemail was different, more desperate. She kept repeating the same line, "I thought you'd just forgive me." That hit a nerve, not in the way she hoped, though, because it confirmed exactly what I suspected. She knew what she did, she knew it was wrong, she just didn't think the rules applied to her. 2 days later, she showed up at my place with Jordan. I didn't want to let them in, but I opened the door anyway. Lily was holding a plastic container of muffins. She actually said, "We brought something sweet to talk things over," like this was some casual misunderstanding, like she didn't commit fraud. They sat on the couch. She started talking about how stressed they were, how the wedding drained their savings, how the trip was her dream since she was a kid, how a real brother would understand that. Jordan still hadn't said a single word. Then she got to the point, "If you go through with this lawsuit, you're tearing this family apart. Is that what you want?" I didn't answer right away, just let that sentence hang in the room. I looked at her, then at Jordan. He finally spoke, "Just once, we didn't mean for it to get this far." I asked him what they did mean to do. He didn't answer. That's when I made it clear, I wasn't backing off. I was done being the dependable one who gets walked over. I told her she had two choices: pay me back now or meet me in court. She stood up, grabbed the muffins off the table like I'd somehow lost the right to them, and walked out. I watched them drive away, and then I called Derek to confirm the next step. We were filing the suit. If she wanted to play the victim, she could do it in front of a judge, she screamed when my lawyer called her. Lily really believed none of it would stick, that I'd cool off, that I'd be too embarrassed to take my own sister to court. She had no idea who she was dealing with. The court date came faster than she probably expected. My lawyer, Derek, was ready. He prepped me in detail, walked me through everything like this wasn't his first family fallout case, and honestly, I was grateful for how little he sugarcoated it. It wasn't personal to him, just numbers and facts, and that helped. She showed up wearing a soft blue sweater like she was auditioning for sympathy. Her lawyer looked like he'd been pulled off a park bench, probably a free legal aid attorney, which said a lot. Jordan came too, still quiet, still looking like he wanted to disappear into his shirt collar. She didn't look at me once. The judge didn't waste time. Derek laid out the sequence: my credit card number being used while I was asleep in the house, the timestamp, the charge, her text acknowledging it, and her refusal to pay me back even after I asked. Her side didn't deny anything, they didn't even try. Their whole defense was basically, it wasn't that bad, he can afford it, and she was going to pay eventually. They said I was overreacting, that I was causing unnecessary stress in her marriage, that I tried to say this was about resentment and emotions. The judge didn't care. He ruled in my favor right there, ordered her to repay me the full $4,800 plus filing fees and interest. It came out to just over $5,000. She had 30 days to pay. After court, she brushed past me in the hallway like I didn't exist. Jordan gave me this awkward half nod like he was sorry but couldn't say anything with her next to him. I didn't hear from her for a week, then the call started, not from Lily, from everyone else. Apparently, she'd gone nuclear. She told our entire extended family that I had offered to pay for the honeymoon as a wedding gift, then changed my mind and tricked her with a lawsuit. She said I was jealous of her happiness, that I was bitter, lonely, and always had it out for her. She painted me like this greedy, heartless monster who dragged his sister into court to make a point. And the worst part? Some of them believed her. My mom called in tears, said people were asking her what happened, asking how her son could do that to her daughter. My Aunt Mary left a voicemail telling me I was cold. An older cousin I barely talked to sent me a long message about how family should be more important than money. All this from people who hadn't even asked for my side. Lily turned them into her personal PR team. Meanwhile, I was sitting there with an invoice, a court order, and a voicemail where she literally admitted she used my card without asking. I was ready to let them think whatever they wanted, but then I remembered something that changed the whole game. For the past year and a half, I'd been paying $700 a month toward Lily and Jordan's rent. That started when my mom came to me quietly and said they were struggling. It wasn't even a discussion, she just asked, and I said yes. I'd been sending the money directly to their landlord every month, no praise, no thanks, just a quiet drain I tolerated out of guilt and obligation. So now I had leverage. I sent Lily a message that simply said, either you tell the truth to everyone, or this month's rent payment is the last. She saw it, didn't respond, but I knew she got the message, because 2 days later, my mom called and said Lily wanted to host a family sit-down. And that's where things were going to shift, because I was done playing defense. The text from my mom just said, Lily wants to talk at the house tomorrow night. Everyone will be here. I knew what it was, a damage control operation, her way of trying to twist the narrative back in her favor, this time in person. She probably thought if she got everyone under one roof, she could fake some tears and shift the blame onto me again. But I showed up. When I walked into my parents' house, half the extended family was already there, not the whole crowd, but enough to make it uncomfortable. 2 uncles, an aunt, grandma in her usual spot near the window, my parents both looking like they hadn't slept, Jordan was there too, sitting in the corner like furniture, and Lily stood near the middle of the living room like she was waiting to give a speech at her own funeral. Nobody smiled, nobody greeted me. I didn't sit, just leaned against the wall and waited. I wasn't going to make this easy. Lily started by thanking everyone for being there, like this was a group therapy session. She went on about how things got out of hand, how there was miscommunication, how she should have talked to me directly. Not once did she use the word theft, not once did she own the fact that she deliberately used my credit card behind my back and tried to disappear into the Pacific with a coconut in hand. She made it sound like we were having a petty sibling spat, like we were 10 years old and I broke her doll and now we needed to hug it out. Then she pulled the victim card again, said I embarrassed her, said I humiliated Jordan, said I turned a family issue into a legal attack. Everyone just sat there, waiting for my response. So I gave it. I said she didn't borrow money, she stole it. She bought her honeymoon with my credit card and didn't even plan to tell me until I found out, and when I asked for it back, she ignored me. So yeah, I took her to court. No one said anything. Then I turned to my parents and added, by the way, the rent I've been helping with? That stops this month. I'm done. That one landed hard. You could feel the shift. My mom's face changed, my dad leaned forward like he just heard wrong, my aunt blinked slowly like her brain was still catching up, and Lily, she finally looked like something cut through. I looked right at her, tell them the truth, or I'll tell them everything myself. She hesitated, but she knew she was cornered. So for the first time in weeks, she told the truth. She admitted she used my card, she admitted she thought she could replace the money quietly before I noticed, she admitted she never told anyone I'd been helping with rent because she was embarrassed, but mostly, she admitted she didn't think I'd do anything about it. My grandma, who hadn't said a word all night, finally spoke up, you lied to everyone, Lily. Not just Ethan. That cracked something. After that, it was a blur. My dad asked when the rent payments had started. My mom wanted to know why she was never told. Lily tried to pivot, said I didn't need to turn everyone against her, but she'd already done that to herself. I walked out when the arguing started, left them to deal with the fallout. I didn't need to stay and watch it collapse, I'd already been standing in the rubble. That night, she sent me one message: "We'll figure it out on our own." Happy? I didn't answer, because for the first time, I was. After that night, things stayed quiet, at least on the surface. The family meeting had pulled the curtain back, and nobody could pretend anymore. Lily tried to lay low after she confessed, but the damage was done. The story she'd been spreading, the one where I was the villain, collapsed in front of everyone. She wasn't just embarrassed, she was furious that she had to admit it. 2 weeks later, my dad called and told me she and Jordan had moved out of their apartment, couldn't afford the rent without my help. They were crashing in a friend's guest room until they could figure something out. He said it like I should have felt bad, I didn't. But Lily wasn't done. Turns out, losing control made her dangerous. She couldn't get money out of me anymore, so she went for what she thought was the next best thing: my reputation. She started telling people I'd sabotaged her marriage, that I'd threatened Jordan, that I'd brought up old stuff from when we were kids to manipulate her. I don't even know what that last part was supposed to mean, but it didn't matter. Her goal wasn't the truth, it was payback. Some of it stuck, at least temporarily. A cousin who used to text me every couple of weeks stopped responding. An uncle who always invited me to Thanksgiving didn't this year. A few family friends I hadn't seen in a while started acting weird when I ran into them. Nothing explosive, just subtle stuff: fewer smiles, less warmth, cold shoulders that hadn't been there before. She was chipping away at me socially, one conversation at a time. So I gave her another choice. I sent her a message: "You keep lying, I'll start talking, not just to the family, to your landlord, your old boss, anyone who thinks you're trustworthy." She didn't reply, but she stopped. The rumors didn't disappear, but they stopped spreading. I guess she figured out that even a little more fallout could make her life a whole lot worse. Jordan tried reaching out once, by the way, a weird middle-of-the-night email that basically said, "I didn't want any of this. I just wanted to keep the peace." I didn't respond. I wasn't going to hand out forgiveness because someone sat quietly through a disaster they helped create. Lily never paid the full amount the court ordered. She made 3 partial payments over the next few months, probably to avoid wage garnishment. The last one came with a note that said, "Hope this ends it." It did, legally anyway. But I meant it when I said I was done. No more rent, no more favors, no more silence. And as for family? I still see some of them, the ones who cared enough to ask what really happened. The rest? They can keep believing whatever makes them feel better. I'm fine with that. Let them guess. The last payment came in without a word, no apology, no explanation, just a PayPal notification with exactly $1,272.43 and a note: "Hope this ends it." I read it 3 times, then closed the app and moved on with my day. It didn't feel like closure, not exactly, but it was enough. By that point, most of the people who had been quietly judging me were either silent or slowly creeping back around. Cousins who had ghosted me after the family sit-down started liking my posts again. One even reached out and asked if I wanted to grab coffee. Said, "Sorry things got so weird with Lily." I didn't know the full story. I didn't hold a grudge, but I didn't forget, either. Lily and I hadn't spoken since the family meeting. The silence between us wasn't angry or dramatic, it was just solid, like a wall we both agreed to stop climbing. She stopped trying to spin things, I stopped looking for signs that she'd grow up. We became strangers who used to share a house and a last name. The funny part was how normal everything felt once I cut her off completely. No more middle-of-the-month texts asking for help, no more whispered favors passed through mom, no more pretending everything was fine just to keep peace at the dinner table. I started spending time with people who didn't expect things from me, the people who stayed quiet during the drama but later said, "You did what had to be done." One day, I got a text from an unknown number. Just said, "This is Jordan. I know it's been a mess. We're trying to get things back on track. Lily's been going to therapy. She wants to talk, maybe apologize, if that ever matters to you. Just say when." I stared at it for a while, then I deleted it. Maybe she was going to therapy, maybe she really wanted to apologize, but it didn't matter. The damage was done, not just the stolen money or the lies or the lawsuit. What stuck with me was how easy it had been for her to throw me under the bus when things got hard. She didn't just make a mistake, she planned it, executed it, lied about it, tried to humiliate me when I didn't roll over. You don't come back from that with a text message apology handed off by your husband. People say blood is thicker than water, but whoever said that never got their identity used for a tropical vacation and then got blamed for the fallout. So yeah, it ended, not with a dramatic final confrontation, not with forgiveness, just the choice, her choice to cross a line, my choice not to pretend it didn't matter. That's the last chapter. I don't wish her anything bad, I don't wish her anything at all. It had been 3 quiet weeks, no updates, no fallout, no family drama, just silence, the kind that settles into your life after you finally shut a door that needed closing years ago. I hadn't heard a word from Lily since that last PayPal note, and honestly, I didn't expect to. She'd taken what she could, burned every bridge she crossed, and disappeared into her own mess. Until she knocked on my door. It was a Sunday afternoon, just past 3. I was watching a game, half asleep on the couch. The knock was soft, barely there, but enough to pull me out of that weekend haze. I opened the door, and there she was, alone, no makeup, no dramatic entrance, just standing there in a hoodie with a manila folder clutched to her chest. She looked, not broken, exactly, but off balance, like someone who had just realized they ran out of backup plans. She didn't ask to come in, just said, "I need 10 minutes. I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. I stepped aside and let her in. She didn't sit, just stood at the kitchen counter and opened the folder. Inside were 3 things, a letter, a printout with a list of names and numbers, and a document from a local legal aid office. She handed me the letter first, said nothing while I read it. It wasn't an apology, not exactly. It was more like a confession. She listed out every lie she told our family, said she knew what she'd done, how she didn't expect forgiveness, but she wanted to own it. She even admitted she made things up just to protect her pride. The part that got to me most was when she wrote, "You were the only one who ever gave without asking." I didn't realize how much I abused that until I lost everything else. The second page was a list, names of family members and people from our circle, cousins, aunts, a couple of people from our old neighborhood. Next to each name was a note, some said called, others said messaged, 3 were marked in progress. I asked what the list was. She said, "Everyone I lied to. I'm working through it." Then she handed me the legal aid paper. It was a consultation record. Apparently, Jordan had officially filed for separation 2 weeks ago. He'd moved out and was staying with his brother in Texas. According to Lily, he told her he wasn't built for this kind of pressure and didn't want to keep carrying her mistakes. She didn't cry, she didn't beg, she just stood there watching me process all of it. "I'm not here to fix things with you," she said. "I just didn't want you to hear about it through someone else." I asked her what she expected from me. "Nothing," she said. "I'm cleaning up what I broke. That includes the stuff I said about you." I didn't say much, just nodded and told her I hoped she meant it. Before she left, she paused at the door, said, "I know you don't owe me a second chance, but if you ever change your mind about whether we can be family again, you know where I am." And then she walked out. I stood there for a while afterward, holding the list. I don't know if she's changing or if she's just out of options and trying a new angle, but for the first time in a long time, she didn't try to sell me anything, no manipulation, no pressure, just facts and damage control. I haven't followed up, haven't checked in to see if she's actually called the rest of the people on the list. But I kept the letter, not because I forgive her, not yet, maybe not ever, but because part of me needed to see her finally take responsibility, even if it came too late to fix what she broke.